So, welcome to today's tutorial for Natural Science 1570, Exploring the Solar System. Today's tutorial, we're going to check out how to find scholarly articles to help you with your assignments. So, let's take a look at how to find scholarly articles. First thing we'll do is from the library homepage, www.library.yorku.ca. We'll go to Research Guides, and from there, we'll go to Course Guides. And now, amongst all these course guides, there's a guide that I've created for this particular course, for NATS 1570, with all the main resources that you'll need for that course. So we'll just scroll down a little bit, NATS 1570, Exploring the Solar System, and this page has all the information you'll need to find the information for the course, for the assignments. So, this particular tutorial, like I said, we're concentrating on finding scholarly articles. Right here is a link back to this particular tutorial, so when you come to the page and you want to find the tutorial again, there it is. So, the thing that the database, the search engine that I've identified as the most useful one for finding scholarly articles is this one here, Scholars Portal Journals. So let's click on that and go to Scholars Portal Journals. As we can see, it has over 45 million, almost 46 million articles covering all the different academic disciplines, including astronomy, astrophysics, space engineering, all those related fields. And so, like I said, this is where we'll be able to find scholarly journal articles. Virtually everything in this database is scholarly. And by scholarly, we mean articles that have been published in official disciplinary scholarly journals that have been peer-reviewed. In other words, they have a certain level of quality control. Scholars in the relevant fields have reviewed the articles before they were published to make sure that they met quality standards. And so that's peer review, and that's when your professor says, I want you to use scholarly journal articles. That's what they mean. And this Scholars Portal Journals database is a really great place to find those. So here we are. Now, what do we want to find? We want to find some articles. And over here we have our search window, and we're going to see if we can find some stuff on the Mars Curiosity mission. So we'll do our search on Curiosity and see what that gets us. And you know what? Not a lot. Or in fact, too much. 75,000 things on every different kind of curiosity. And really, none of them seem to be about the Mars Curiosity mission. So let's try Curiosity Mars. Or better yet, what I like to do in this particular database is create one line for every different concept. So Curiosity is the name of the mission. Mars is the place that it's going to. So let's try our search now and see what we have. So we see all of a sudden all kinds of really cool stuff that's about the Mars Curiosity mission. Landing a spacecraft in Mars. That looks quite relevant. Now this one is in the journal IEEE software. So in other words, it's about the software side of landing someone on Mars. The name of the article is Landing a Spacecraft on Mars. G.J. Holtzman is the author, and it's from March 2013, Volume 30, Issue 2, page 83 to 86. And so now if I wanted to read this article, I can just click on PDF Download, and here's the full text of that article. Similarly, if I look through the rest of these articles, I can see which ones look interesting, and see and read those. And so, what kind of things do I want to read? Now, here we go. Space Science Reviews, Mars Science Laboratory Mission, and Science Investigation. There we go. So there's the full text of that article. And it's interesting because this one is, it seems that the Curiosity mission had a lot of science aspects to it. So the Mars Science Laboratory Mission was, I guess, what they called the science aspects of the Curiosity mission. And so when we click on there, we just close that window down. And now, I think it would be really interesting to take a look at some other aspects of the Curiosity. Like, again, we have quite a few here. We have over 5,000. So if we create another line, and we can look at another couple of concepts within that Mars Curiosity overall concept. So let's try design. What are some articles about the design of that mission? So let's try our search. And so here we have, here we go, in-flight experience of the Mars Science Laboratory Guidance, Navigation, and Control System for Entry, Descent, and Landing from the CEAS Space Journal. If I was interested in designing of how those systems were designed, I could click here, and once again, here's the full text of that article. Okay, so the Mars Science Laboratory, that concept seems quite prevalent in all of these. So why don't I try doing a search on Mars Science Laboratory, Laboratory, and see what we can find there. Okay, a lot of really great stuff on the science laboratory aspects of that mission. So once again, relay support for the Mars Science Laboratory mission. And there we go. There's the full text article. Now let's switch gears a little bit. I'll just restart. I'll click up here, the Scholars Portal Journals. That'll give me a blank search page. And so now let's switch gears and see what we can find in terms of geological formations and Mars. Once again, we have Mars. Let's do volcanoes. So now, once again, we have quite a lot on Mars volcanoes. Volcanoes on Mars, volcanoes of the Earth, Moon, and Mars. Now, some of these are fairly recent. Atmospheric water vapor. Some of these are quite a bit older, from 1976. But I think there looks like a pretty good cross-section of things here. Again, some really new and some not so new. Now, sometimes it helps if you switch up your search terms. So let's try Mars and volcanic and see if we get a slightly different, and yeah, we do get a slightly different set. Is there volcanic life on Mars? So there's a slightly different comparative analysis of the volcanic impact on the climates of Earth and Mars. That actually looks quite interesting. And so we get it, like I said, we get a slightly different cross-section if we use a slightly different terminology. Now, how do we get them both at the same time? You can just do VOLCAN star, and that's the wildcard character. It'll give you VOLCAN, then any word after that ends after that, like volcano, volcanoes, volcanic. And so we'll do the search again. And we'll see we have, again, kind of a higher number than either of those other two searches. And that's going to give us, again, kind of a nice cross-section of things there. Now, one thing that maybe I'll add one last extra concept here. I'm always interested in energy applications. How do you get energy if you're in a place? If you have a mission to a place, you need to find energy. And now, so Mars, volcanoes. Now, is there anything about using volcanoes for to generate geothermal energy on Mars? I wonder. So let's try a search on that. There we go. Glaciovolcanic hydrothermal environments in Iceland and implications for their detection on Mars. There we go. That's kind of interesting. And once again, if we click on the PDF button, it'll give us the full text of that article. So once again, we can see using this Scholars Portal Journals, there's a lot of different options for finding really interesting and really relevant articles on a wide range of topics, both in terms of space missions and in terms of finding information about geological features. Thanks for listening, and good luck with your assignment.